Life of a door knocker can be tough. Having doors slammed in your face on a daily basis, people not exactly hearing what you have to say.
What?
Not the most friendly customer.
Not interested. Now get the off my property, and by the way, go get a real job.
The good news is, it doesn't have to be that way. Welcome to the Door-to-Door Mastery Podcast, where it's all about increasing your confidence, building rapport with your customers, and closing more sales. Here is your host, Paul Shakuri.
Hello, my door knockers, and welcome to the Door-to-Door Mastery Podcast. We are on episode number 5. Hey, I want to reach out to you guys and say congratulations. You're doing a freaking amazing job out there. I promise. And I mean that. Door knocking's not easy. It pays a lot, but it's also not hard. Keep it simple. And I'm here to tell you, I'm here to guide you in the right direction to closing more sales, selling door to door as your coach, your success coach, from a guy that's mastered it and thought he would never, ever really master it. I promise you guys, the more you do it, the better you get. Now, today's podcast, today's episode, again, is going to be a video on YouTube and then as well on iTunes. You guys can find it, or going over to doortodoormastery.com. You can find us there. But I'm going to label this one called Help, I'm Sinking and Need a Life Jacket. Now, why? Because later in this episode, you're going to hear from an actual door knocker who's out there, been doing it for 5 to 6 months, and he emailed me saying, he's having some issues. He's been doing it for 5 to 6 months, and he doesn't want to quit, doesn't want to give up, just like I talk about, but he wants to make it happen. So I'm going to get into the details of that. But door-to-door sales, you guys, for the most part, it takes time. Some people off the bat, like I say, their personality matches knocking on doors. They understand, that there's a lot of sales to be made out there, and it doesn't necessarily have to look a certain way. The people that can stay calm and not stress themselves out about the job, because, door knocking, especially depending on what situation you're in, can be very stressful, or just making money in general. I know a lot of people who work from home, for example, and they're not on a guaranteed hourly salary or whatnot, and they're very stressed in their actual daily routines, in their daily lives. Are they going to make that next paycheck that's going to cover their bills? And if you're doing door-to-door sales and you're starting it off, door-to-door sales should be something longer term where you don't have those issues. They go away. And that was the number one reason why I started, doing door-to-door. I wanted to be financially free. I wanted to, pay off what little debt I had, or if any. But, I wanted to grow my bank account. And I always teach everyone who's doing door-to-door sales who doesn't already have, and listen to this, who doesn't already have a minimum of $10,000 in a bank account saved up on the side. If you don't have that, well, your first goal as a door-to-door salesperson should be to actually, pay the bills off, but live frugal in the beginning until you can put about $10,000, you can put a minimum of $10,000 aside in an account that you do not touch, which is a cushion. Right? It's a home for your mind. That's what it really is. Because if heaven forbid, something happened, you got in a car accident, again, heaven forbid, you got in a car accident or something happened and you needed to tap into there, you can. But I want to talk about tapping into that. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, tapping into that, okay? Those words are too funny. Anyways, tapping into that money, so many people, so many of my door knockers that I've trained, I can just already think of faces as I'm thinking of this. I know a lot of you are listening, and eventually you'll listen to this podcast, but so many that I taught that have gotten their cushions up to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and then, I'm not selling well this month or the month after, and they tap into that $10,000 account, which deserves a slap on the wrist, right? Because when sitting down with these people, I talk to them and say, you need to be honest with yourself and you need to be honest with me. Did you go out here the last couple weeks and not close as many sales as you should because you knew you had that money in that account? And I'm here to tell you 99.9% of the people say absolutely yes. 99.9% of the people that I actually trained in over the many years that I've been, training door-to-door salespeople, that's what happens. There are certain people in this industry that take it like a business and take it serious. But then there's also people in the industry that, they do door-to-door sales to kind of just like get by or to kind of because it's just there and there's no other opportunity for them. If you're doing this because there's no opportunity for you out there and you're just doing it, you need to really pick and decide if you're going to go all out with the job or if you're going to kind of half ace it. Okay. If you're going to half ace it, well, I'm here to tell you, you're really affecting the company you're working for. And a lot of the people that listen to this podcast, if you are, right now at the gym or whatnot, and you're an actual sales manager, you need to decide with the owner of the company, your regional manager, you guys need to decide, the structure for your business. You need to understand and identify, are you going to bring anybody in and just know that everybody's, literally almost good for a sale and they're going to come on in and they're going to bring an account and you get, thousands of people all doing like one a week and have that type of energy around that office? Or are you going to, really build a team that's, I like to say the Olympic team of door knocking. I wish there was an Olympic door knocking team. I'd be the coach or the whatever you want to put me as position. But I'd love to obviously tackle that and see that's crazy. Anyways, rambling on, but what type of energy and atmosphere do you want? So you're listening to this, whether you're a manager, you want to get there, you need to understand if you want to get there, you got to prove. So many managers, so many of you guys, email me, and I'll get into this in, again, later episodes. We're still new. We're at episode number 5. But so many of you guys, message me saying, I want to guide and lead my team in the best direction, but how do I? Or on the opposite side, just like, this gentleman who emailed me, Dante, he emailed me today, and he said, he mentioned that, he's reached out to his management and leader team, but, they haven't really given him the proper guidance. And owners, if you're listening, if your management team is not giving your bottom line, the bottom line, which is the salespeople, and I don't say that in a bad way, the salespeople actually make the most per account. They get the biggest cut of the pie, and the owners actually make money on volume. So they make a little bit off of a lot of sales. That's the only way, the owners normally make money in this field. But if you really are setting up and have a plan for success as a company, trust me on this. Trust me from a person who's tried it himself. Your management team is very important to pick the right people. A lot of times the management team are friends or family members of the owners, and that's who gets the job. And friends or family of the owners could be a bad thing. It can really set you apart if they're not doing the job right. And managing a group of door-to-door salespeople isn't about forcing people to work or micromanaging. If you as a salesperson need to be micromanaged, there's so many people in this industry that need that, and it frustrates me. I hope you're not listening to this podcast if you constantly need to be micromanaged. You don't deserve to listen to this podcast. Now, if you need to be micromanaged every now and then, that's fine, but not just leeching off of companies. Because I deal with so many owners that I talk to, and they're like, Paul, what do I do to get this person who just can't seem to get it, doesn't want to show up to work? What do? You get rid of them. You show them where the door is and you have them walk out. And if you're listening to this podcast and that's who you are, I want you to walk out of the door of this podcast. You don't deserve to listen to this information. I get a little angry somewhat to say about people who don't want to really learn and master what it is they're doing. People who half do things. Now, don't take this the wrong way. If you're in a tough situation and you can't seem to, get your mind in the right direction because you're always stressed out about whether I'm going to be able to make ends meet, and that's what's affecting you on the doors, but you're still putting your all in, that doesn't, I welcome you guys all the time to really learn and grasp the information. That's who I welcome. I'm not here to say those people who are just like not doing well in sales. I'm here to tell you that you who are listening to this podcast, I'm sure you want to get better, and that's the only reason why you've reached out and found this out of all the millions of things you could have been looking for online, right? All the big things, all the many different things you could have been doing online. So I'm not reaching out to you and bashing you. What I'm saying is those people who, are just getting by and that's all they settle for. And on top of it, they affect and hurt their managers. Because again, when I was managing a team, not just regionally managing a team or even, was the vice president of sales of a team and then the owner of a company. When I was like managing salespeople, there were so many that would bring the management team down because they tell you they want to become successful, but their actions don't show it over the longer term. So if you're like that, you need to either on the pot or get off. Okay. You need to either on the pot and get off. And no, I didn't eat that out. That sounded like a cutout, huh? I'm actually very good at doing that, but I'm going to do that on the air every now and then from time to time. Okay. So what do I recommend to start? There's a 3 to 4 step really process. And to keep it all simple, it's a real simple 3-step process. Simple doesn't mean easy. Okay. If you had, and let me give you this analogy. If you looked at Google Maps, okay, and you zoomed out to the world all the way out, and you actually see the world. Okay. How simple does it really look? You got the continents, you can see, the water, you can see the shape of everything. It looks pretty simple for the most part, right? You can actually memorize, everything on the map over there in a short period of time. It's simple. But when you zoom in and you get closer and closer to North America, to Europe, to wherever, an actual country, then a state, and then you zoom into a city, and then you zoom into a map of a current city, let's just say, a current neighborhood. How much more complicated does it get to understand and master each street, know where everything is? It takes a lot more time, and it gets more and more detailed the more you zone in. So how does that relate to door knocking? That's my analogy I use to door knocking because it's fairly simple when you look at the big picture. But when you're zoning in and you're zooming in, there's little small details that you really need to learn, and it takes time. It takes a little bit of time. However, you're only going to get better if and only if. You're only going to get better. You're only going to close more sales if and only if you do one thing. You're focused on getting better and you're reaching out to find the information. Hey, where can you start? Let me play this.
DoorToDoorMastery.com, your source of motivation, information, and inspiration to closing more sales. Selling door to door, that's DoorToDoorMastery.com.
That's right, DoorToDoorMastery.com. I post a bunch of blog posts for those of you who like reading. I hate reading unless it's something I really like or enjoy or am into, like day trading right now. I can read, and I have read like literally the top guys who I'm following, every blog post over and over. And every time I read it over and over again, I learn so much more. And as I start implementing and practicing, again, I'm going to relate this back. As I start, going and doing some day trades and I look at patterns and I'm like, hey, I'm about to, and I'm talking about the stock market, I'm about to invest in this, but I'm not certain if this is the right setup and pattern. As I start doing a little bit more and I start getting my feet wet, getting my hands wet, getting my feet wet, well, what happens is the next time I go back to their blog posts or I listen to a podcast or, I start listening to what they're talking about, these gurus, these coaches, these teachers, which yes, I spend thousands of dollars on their programs, for example, to actually learn. It's not bad to spend money on programs that, are going to teach you and educate you and get you, ahead of the game, get you closer to your level of success that you want. Why would I not do that instead of learning it on my own? My time is valuable to me. And until you start taking your time really and understanding that your time is valuable, you're not going to get better. So how does this relate to door knocking? Well, you get the idea, but when you go out there and you start talking to people, you start knocking on doors and you start realizing that, you're getting less and less people who are engaging with you. How do I do better? And then you come to this blog post, you come to a blog post or you come to this podcast show or you find me on YouTube and you're like, that makes sense. That resonates in my head because I remember when that homeowner told me, I'm not interested. What I can do, like ask him, what exactly aren't you interested in? Whatever you're selling. And what does that mean if somebody's telling you, I'm not interested in whatever you're selling? Do they trust you? Do they like you? Perhaps they're having a bad day. And how can you turn that around? Oh, as a matter of fact, we weren't actually selling anything. I'm actually handing out samples for my company, right? For you, those of you who are doing that, I got an email from a gentleman who told me that's what he does. So, so many times you can turn sales around, but you got to learn the details. And as you start listening to this, I highly recommend over and over and over again to listen and learn to almost every podcast more than once. Go to the website and check back over and over again. Again, you want to get good. You really want to get better at doing it. The only way you're going to do it is to get your feet wet, but then come back to the teacher, come back to the lessons, come back and learn over and over and over again. And that is the number one way you're going to do it. The number one way you're going to do it. It's no other way. I can tell you one thing, you can learn everything off the bat, but if you don't learn it and implement it over and over again, repetition is the key. Repetition is the key. Repetition, that means over and over and over again, is the key to what I call mastery. Okay? Door-to-door sales and mastering it, you got to do it over and over again. You got to go back in and learn, because what's going to happen is the next time you actually run into that situation and you read the previous day how to handle that situation, you implement it slowly, but you don't master it the first time you actually implement it with a customer. Some people do. Some people, they learn off the bat really quick. I wasn't like that. But then I start, talking to a customer. Oh, yeah, not a big deal. Paul said, went back. What exactly are you not, quite interested about? Right? You start stuttering. You don't say it with confidence. Sorry, what was that? Oh, what aren't you like? What part of what I'm doing don't you like, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so? Oh, no, I'm just busy right now. Oh, not a big deal. You probably thought I was selling something, right? No, I'm just handing out samples and creating some awareness for my company. Or we're actually up and down the streets here because, we do home security. There's a lot of people recently who've been calling us. Oh, okay, yeah, home security. So what do you have to offer? It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. Okay? You can turn situations around, and I promise you, when you learn and know how to do it. And then once you start doing that and you start seeing some progress, how does that make you feel deep within you? And when you feel great and you start seeing progress, how much more energy do you put on that next door? How much more energy do you put into everything you do? Oh, I can't tell you. It's a circle. It's a circle that I talk about all the time, and I'll come up with a name for it. But the more energy you put into something, the better the results you're going to get. Anything you put a lot more energy into, you're eventually going to get a better result. And when you get a better result, how much better does that make you feel? It makes you feel so much better. And then when it makes you feel so much better, how much more energy do you put back into it again? And what's the reward? The rewards it's a circle of happiness. But on the opposite side, folks, listen up. If you put less energy into something, well, what potential, how much less energy potential are you putting into something? How much less of the reward are you going to get? Sales, for example, way less. The less stores you talk to, the less energy you're putting into it, the less possible chances you're going to close some more sales. I'm here to help you increase your ratio so you can double the amount of times you put on the door, but get double the amount of sales. Not just double the amount of doors you talk to, but, get the same amount of sales. No. I don't want you to talk to more people to close, the same amount of sales. I want you to talk to less people, but close more sales, which is increasing your sales conversion ratio, but then talking to more people, which means you're going to pick up more sales talking to the same amount of people you were talking to before the last month, the last week, the last year. That's what the show is all about. Okay? Where do you start? I'm going to hit this once again, and at the top of the website or on the side, depending where it is, it's so simple. I have a free video course.
Strategically designed with the door knocker in mind. Best door knocking tips and advice at doortodoormastery.com.
That's right. It's doortodoormastery.com. I have a free video series for you right now. And it's still free. A lot of you guys are saying, you can't believe I gave it away for free. I want to prove to you guys. I really do. I really want to prove to you guys I know what I'm talking about. Because when I do, I know eventually my membership area that's literally at the time right now is only $97. Once it's a little bit more more done. I haven't had much time to really complete it. There's a ton of videos in there, but I really want to create a community where I'm actually going to be doing live webinars and whatnot in there too. You know, for $97, you can literally get a hold of it instantly today. And when anybody who gets in at that price, just so you know, it will go up. I promise you. This isn't just a sales pitch. I know too much. I've put way too much efforts into it, and you know, I pay a lot to maintain it and keep it up there. But you know, for $97, you get in. That's a one-time fee, and it's there for good for now. You know, you can go to the Door-to-Door Mastery and first get the free video series of the 1 to 4 videos I send you. And then after that, you actually get to a chance to go into the membership area. A lot of you have recently said, Paul, dude, I've been knocking for literally 6 years, and I know you know what 6 months, a year. I know exactly you know what you're talking about. So can I just get this right now? So I've created it so you can. Again, I'm open and transparent with everybody. You can go to where on the side of my website, it says close more sales. It says learn how to sell, door-to-door training 101. Well, there, if you go there, it'll take you directly to the sales page. You can read some of the testimonials, but it's going to go up very soon here. I'd say within the next couple months, I'm going to raise it. I'm going to complete it. You know, it needs a couple more videos for management and whatnot. But I have a ton of videos in there already that you guys can join and you know, webinars in there. I'm really going to get close so I can, you know, work with you guys. Those are bonuses. Those are the bonuses. But understand that it's an actual program. Okay. And it's designed and taught, and I teach you guys. I go through everything from A to Z, and I actually put it in details on an actual whiteboard with a screen capture where you actually see it. It's fun, it's unique, and it's exciting. But it's designed for you. You know, I'm spending thousands of dollars on day trading, and I'm like, holy frick! Like, these guys are charging thousands. Me charging $97 is ridiculous. But anyway, different market. Don't care. I enjoy it. I've made my wealth in door knocking already. I made $314,000 just 1 year. Been doing it for 9 years. I've created, you know, a good cushion for myself. And I want to create this community. I want this to literally be the one and only thing that I do. So obviously, number one, I do need your support there because it's still growing, you know, to prove that this is a community that we stick with one another. And I'm going to help out and give you guys my all. I promise you. Anyone who's ever emailed me, you know, and I'll say this proudly, I've gotten back to you. I do that because a lot of you who are struggling, if you reach out to me in an email, if you've reached out to me, I'm going to get back to you because I know that's somebody who wants to learn this. You know, I've had a couple of people, I can already think of like one out of the literally hundreds of emails that I get. Hey, my door knocking pitch doesn't work. Help me. Okay, because I know what your door knocking pitch is all about. You know, you want the easy way out, the least information possible. Just give me the answer. You're not going to get the answer. You're more likely going to quit. I promise you. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. Okay. But you need to learn and know how. And for, you know, to pay somebody a little bit to get ahead and save so much more time, it's amazing. With one sale, you literally will, you know, tenfold put back in your pocket exactly what you get, what you put into it, if you've actually just learned. Am I promoting my membership area? 100% I am. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. This is something I really want to take serious because, again, I've been in your situation. I slept on an air mattress for literally about a year. I had no vehicle, and my wife and I were sleeping on an air mattress. She sacrificed so much. I know a lot of you guys are family people because you've messaged me, and it's funny. Normally, you know, the people who really want to do well are the ones who are reaching out to me and saying, hey, I got a family. I want to make sure I feed them. Well, I get no better high and gratification in my life from helping people that want to learn, but also want to understand that if you master door-to-door sales, no matter what economy, no matter what situation you're in, you will always be able to sell something selling door-to-door. In the American economy, when it went down and we've been in literally this horrible recession, I was still able to feed my family and prosper and make a 6-figure income doing door-to-door sales. Why? Were there less sales to be made? Yeah. But were there still sales to be made? I just had to talk to more people to qualify those homeowners that would be able to purchase my product. But I made an amazing and a substantial amount of money. Had a 4,000 square foot house in a recession. A brand new 4,000 square foot house, 750 Li BMW. But, you know, I don't say that to brag. I say that to have it make sense. And I don't care for that luxury lifestyle anymore. I've been through it, and it literally, I've changed my life around, because when I was in it and I was making all this money, I was getting pretty cocky. I have to admit, I didn't like it. It wasn't who I wanted to be in life. Put me it gave me a nice little slap. You know, for those of you who are trying to do door-to-door sales to ball and do it, you guys, that's your own life. But I promise you, those who really want to become successful and build wealth selling door to door, those are the people who are really going to prosper within the actual door to door sales field. I want to reach out a big thank you and a hi all the way to my UK students. You guys, my UK students, I couldn't believe how big of a community of listeners there are out there. You guys, thank you so much for listening and trusting in me, engaging with me. And a lot of you guys have became members in my program, my Door-to-Door Mastery program. Thank you so much. And I honor you for that. It means so much. Every time I actually get a sale and it goes through, it rings on my phone immediately. And sometimes it'll be like, bing, bing, bing. I'm like, holy frick. Like, this is really working. And it's like, I personally believe I owe you guys back so much. So thank you so much. Obviously, America, a very big crowd for door knockers, a very big crowd. And Canada, those are my top 3 listeners. If you're in another country, again, thank you so much for listening and staying tuned and joining. But, I really want to reach out to Canada, America, the UK for just this huge audience. And if you're listening to this, email me, pshak@entadr.com. Email me. I'd like to hear from you. Or when you opt in, I give you the chance. I even send you an email back saying I'm personally guaranteeing you that I'm going to respond to this email personally. Yes, me, not just someone I hire, because I got to engage with you guys one-on-one. I have to. It's just there's no other way to actually do it right now. I have to engage with you guys because I want to prove to you. I really want to really get you to that next level, and I'm really going to do that. Now on to a sad note. My lead technician and someone who's been in the business, I'd have to say literally the best tech I know, unfortunately passed away this weekend. And I want everybody, if you're obviously in a safe spot, to kind of, just bow our heads for a bit and say a quick prayer for John Weaver. He's a beautiful soul, one who really, he's the guy who would help you out and literally do anything. And I don't want to get too emotional on the air here, but John, I know you're listening and you're out there, but I really want to thank you for all you've done for me, my company, even helping get my company started. And you're a blessed soul, and you're now definitely an angel in heaven who God's taken a great person here, but made an angel. A lot of people, you guys have been posting that on Facebook. My prayers go out to you and the family, and I love you, brother. I really do. You are an amazing person. You are an amazing person, and your 2 children, they have a full community and family, around that's there to help them out. And I'm sure you see that. I love you, brother. I really mean that. And thank you so much once again for everything. So sorry to kind of give it a little downturn, but I had to bring that up because, the more prayers that go out there, I personally believe just, I want to honor that. He was an amazing person. So next, moving on, it kind of took me down. Sorry, but I had to do that. Moving on here. Let's take a call, and I'm going to read it. So
let's hear from this week's door knocker.
Can I help you?
Okay. So, that introduction, that little thing is here. This gentleman said, Paul, I need your help. I work on a telecom program with Verizon. I'm completely down to my last hope. I've been in door-to-door for almost 5 months to 6 months right now. I will not quit because I realize the opportunity I have. I am, however, struggling to generate sales. My peers often refer to me as the guy who knows everything about Verizon. I'm going to stop it right there, first of all. Right there is a big thing that I get often from people who start selling door-to-door. They have a passion. The guy who knows everything about Verizon. For you, if you're listening to this, Dante, the number one thing, the number one sign, and I'd have to talk to you, but from what you say right there, if people are saying you're like the guy who knows everything about Verizon, and I'm getting signs that, like you said, you're struggling to close sales, I can almost guarantee you right now that you're over talking with your customers because of the passion you have for the product. Me, when I started selling home security, or, I started selling contracts door to door for an Direct Energy, I was super confident. And, I did a lot of research and I knew a lot about the company and about prices, where they go as of energy wise, and I showed curves and whatnot. And I was super confident about the research that I've done, that I would over talk to customers, and they would get bombarded by all this information that I was presenting to them and giving to them. So number one, that could be affecting you guys out there who are over talking. Over talking is about your product, your service, your company, without asking questions. You should be asking more questions, pausing, listening to your homeowner, more than you're just rambling on. Okay, it's not a podcast. If you had a podcast, you can ramble on because there's no one there on the other end to really ask a question to or talk and stop. You're doing door-to-door sales. And let me give you an example. Hey, my name is Paul. I'm actually out here in your neighborhood because we're actually working on the actual lines. I don't know if you've seen our trucks up and down the streets. Pause. And this is the homeowner. No, I haven't quite seen your trucks up and down the street. Verizon, sorry, what are you doing? Ask you a question. What we're doing basically is right now, for example, you have on the side of your house, you have a box where, you have your company that's doing your actual cable, for example, right? Well, what we want to do and what we're doing is we're building, another box on the side of your house, and we actually want to create some competition for the company that pretty much, has the monopoly at your house here. Would you have any issues with us putting another box on the side of your house? Yeah, no, I don't really want that. Yeah. I know a lot of the neighbors really wouldn't want that either. But, if you don't mind me asking, why exactly wouldn't you want that? Because we're happy with who we have. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. The key I want to get here is, again, I just brought that up. I made that. I don't know your pitch. I don't know what it is you do. And later on, I'm going to actually take calls and we're going to go back and forth with people. But if you see what I'm doing, the general idea, I want to engage and talk to the homeowner on a personal level, but engage them and ask them. This person's kind of trying to push me off. And you're going to notice you get that often, right? You get them wanting to just push you off, brush you off, not interested, don't want it, any excuse to get this door-to-door salesperson off my door. Well, that's typical because what the human psyche is doing, what that person is doing is saying, I just want to get rid of this salesperson. I just don't want. That's normal in the beginning. You're going to learn how to overcome that and get that way less often and cut down the amount of time that these people are doing this to you. I promise you, listening to this podcast, if you implement and come back and listen over and over again, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. I've learned it, I've mastered it, and in my door-to-door mastery program, I actually teach you guys the steps and the small little details that you need to know about that. So understand, that goes away over time. So you may be talking too much. If you're talking too much, that was me. I used to ramble about my product and about how confident and I knew this system and it was the best thing for them. And I kept talking only for them to not really quite listening. You need to stop and ask questions and engage with them. Okay. So my peers often refer to me as the guy who knows everything about Verizon. I see each door as a chance to be one step closer to financial freedom. First of all, Dante, you are correct. Each door, you should look at it as not, I'm going to, trick this person into getting my product, or more as when I knock on this door, I'm going to, first of all, number one, identify if this is a potential customer, right? If this is my target audience, if this is somebody who, I could possibly do business with, because I was talking to another solar sales rep. And this person told me in the city that they're in, the state and city that they're in, which was California, they were telling me that not everybody is a potential customer. I can't sell this person because of this situation. I can't sell that person because of this situation. So the first step would be to filter out if that is your potential customer or not. And if that's a potential customer that you're talking to and you need to talk to, then you can from there, okay, build up the things you got to say. So identify and understand that, you need to find your potential customers. Whatever it is with Verizon, who is your avatar? Who is your potential customer? And if when you're knocking on the door, the next door is your financial freedom. That's true. I used to see, that's $300 to $400 to $500 at every single door if I just find the right customer who's willing to engage with me. Okay? Look at that at every single door before you knock on it. They tell you no, not interested. That's okay. It's okay. Life's not over. There's 8 million other doors out there. Go knock on the next one. I just cannot get there without guidance. Hey, the podcast is for you, I'm sure. And that's why you're actually reaching out to me. You will become successful because you're reaching out now and you found the answer. I promise you. Just a matter of time if you implement my strategies. Okay? Nothing's guaranteed in life, but just keep at it and learn what, the little mistakes you're making, how to correct them. And when you do, it's exponential what happens to your sales. So I've asked my leaders, and I don't want to get into that, but they haven't quite done anything. This is typical. This is common because it's really hard to find go-getter leaders. I don't know why. I was one that said, hey, if you're going to pay me an override, which means money off of the guys that sell for me, do you think I'll take care of my salespeople? Do you think I'm actually going to teach them the right way so that they can maximize their potential? And if they maximize, that means my paychecks get bigger. Anyways, there's people out there who are the wrong people for the job. Not saying your managers or leaders are, but I'm just saying there certainly are. All I can say to you is when other managers in my office were ahead of me and were managers, and I looked at they were doing the same things. Well, what I said was I only got to prove myself. And if I prove myself, I can eventually move into a management, prove that I can increase productivity for my team. And if I increase productivity for my team, isn't it common sense that the owner, if I went to them and said, hey, the other manager, clearly everyone is complaining about them, give me their guys and I will teach and train them. I don't care. I'll teach and train them and increase their productivity. The other person's not even showing up and is lazy and what yada yada, the other manager. Those people are struggling. Don't let your front line, if you're an owner or you're a regional manager, don't let your front line suffer because you have the wrong management team in place. They don't deserve it. Those salespeople, your wonderful salespeople that are out there don't deserve that. Okay? Anyways, any words would help. I'm at the point where I'm about to lose everything. Please help me. Okay. So with the money you make, you got to ask yourself, number one, are you making enough over there? If you were to increase your sales, would you be making a 6-figure income? Now, the bright side of this, Dante, is you have 5 to 6 months of door-to-door sales underneath your belt. Okay. 5 to 6 months. And I'm not telling you to do this, but perhaps any door-to-door sales company, if you're a person who's a hard worker, will take you. Understand that. So the more you knock on doors, know that, no matter what, any other company will take you. However, if I believe in loyalty to a company, but if it's just not working out for you and it's not working out for you, not because of you, and deep within you if it's because of you, but because of the way it's set up, perhaps you might want to switch to something like security or solar. Security is more quicker, big money. Solar is more longer term, larger money. So, or pest controls are really good, in the middle of all that. So you may want to switch. Not saying you should, are going to, or whatnot, but that may be another thing. But take this podcast, another thing. You said you need the life jacket. I've given you the life jacket right now. What are you going to do with it? DoorToDoorMastery.com. Reach me out on, Facebook, Twitter. If you go to DoorToDoorMastery.com, all my links are there. Email me, pshack@entadr, like you did. Okay, people, I highly recommend you go to Facebook.com/ENTADR, like my Facebook fan page over there, and listen to what I have to say. I know what I'm talking about. That is going to simply wrap up this episode. You guys are the backbone to this podcast. You're the backbone to everything I do, knocking on doors. I want to thank you so much for listening, for taking this show serious, because without you guys, this show really doesn't exist. Hey, thank you so much. DoorToDoorMastery.com. You can find all the videos and everything you need there. I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care.
You have been listening to the Door to Door Mastery Podcast. It is time for you to take your door knocking to the next level. Receive Paul's free video series teaching you how to master your opener pitch, understanding your features and benefits, and knowing when and how to close the sale. Be a successful door knocker. Be there now. DoorToDoorMastery.com. That's DoorToDoorMastery.com.